Rain soft, steady, and mesmerizing transforms Interlaken into something straight out of a dream. Mist drapes over the Alps, waterfalls roar with fresh energy, and golden sunsets shimmer after the storm. But beyond the beauty, there's a deeper story, a journey of slowing down, embracing the unexpected, and discovering magic in the drizzle. If you love immersive travel stories and breathtaking scenery, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps bring more incredible adventures to life, and I can't wait to take you along for the next journey. Let's explore the world, rain or shine. Introduction. Why Interlaken? Interlaken, just the name itself, evokes images of towering snow-capped peaks, serene lakes, and charming Swiss chalets. Nestled between Lake Thun and Lake Brienz, this picturesque town has long been a dream destination for adventurers, honeymooners, and those seeking tranquility in the heart of the Alps. But while many picture Interlaken under the golden embrace of the sun, there's a special kind of magic that unfolds when the skies turn gray and the first raindrops kiss the earth. For many, rain is often seen as an inconvenience and unexpected barrier to exploration. But in a place like Interlaken, rain transforms the town into something even more enchanting. It's as if the entire landscape takes a deep breath, sighing in relief as mist rolls down the mountains, wrapping the valley in a soft, ethereal embrace. The streets glisten, the air is crisp with the scent of pine and earth, and the entire world seems to slow down, inviting you to savor every raindrop. The magic of rain. In the Swiss Alps, there's something undeniably romantic about rain in the Alps. Unlike the heavy, stormy downpours of tropical regions, Swiss rain is often gentle and rhythmic, a soothing soundtrack that accompanies every step. In Interlaken, rain doesn't ruin the experience, it enhances it. Imagine strolling through the town's narrow streets, your footsteps echoing softly against the cobbled pathways. The soft patter of rain against rooftops creates a symphony of nature, harmonizing with the distant sound of cowbells from the meadows. Umbrella in hand, you pause by a cafe, its windows fogged up from the warmth inside. You step in, order a rich Swiss hot chocolate, and settle by the window, watching droplets dance on the glass as the towering Jungfrau peak disappears into the mist. Beyond the town, the rain breathes new life into the surrounding forests. The towering pines, damp from the drizzle, exude a fresh, woody aroma. Waterfalls already abundant in this region swell with renewed vigor, their cascades roaring with newfound energy. The colors of Lake Brienz and Lake Thun, known for their surreal turquoise and deep blue hues, take on a softer, more mysterious shade, mirroring the shifting clouds above. Personal anticipation and arrival. The decision to visit Interlaken during the rainy season wasn't entirely planned. Like most travelers, I had envisioned blue skies and panoramic mountain views. But as my train from Zurich weaved through the countryside, the soft drizzle against the windows hinted at a different adventure, one that would turn out to be even more memorable than I had anticipated. Arriving at Interlaken station, I stepped out to a world wrapped in mist. The cool mountain air was laced with the scent of damp earth and blooming wildflowers. The town, usually bustling with tourists, had a quiet, almost introspective feel. It was as if the rain had granted it a moment of stillness, allowing its beauty to be appreciated in hushed reverence. Pulling my coat tighter, I began my first stroll through the town. The Aare River, a shimmering ribbon of water that connects the two lakes, glowed under the gray sky. Ducks paddled lazily along its surface, seemingly unbothered by the drizzle. In the distance, a lone cyclist, clad in a raincoat, pedaled slowly along the riverbank, adding to the town's poetic ambience. As I made my way toward Hemmet Park, one of Interlaken's most iconic open spaces, the rain softened into a fine mist. The park, known for its stunning views of the Jungfrau Massif, was serene and empty, save for a few other rain-loving wanderers like myself. I stood there for a moment, breathing in the crisp alpine air, feeling a deep sense of contentment settle over me. This was not the trip I had envisioned, but in that moment, I knew it would be even better. Interlaken in the rain, the scent of wet cobblestones and pine. The moment the first raindrops kissed the ancient cobblestone streets of Interlaken, the town transformed into a living watercolor painting. The damp stones beneath my feet carried the fragrance of the earth, an intoxicating mix of rain, history, and alpine air. Every step echoed with a quiet rhythm, softened by the drizzle that enveloped the town in a dreamy haze. The scent of pine drifted through the air, carried down from the surrounding forests and mountains. It was a crisp, clean aroma, mingling with the distant hint of wood smoke curling from chimneys. In the quiet of the rain, even the trees seemed to exhale, their needles glistening under the soft gray light of the overcast sky. Walking along the Aare River, I turned toward the Aare River. Its turquoise waters darkened under the shifting clouds. The rain traced delicate ripples on the surface, creating ever-changing patterns as if nature itself was painting a masterpiece. Ducks glided lazily along the current, unfazed by the weather, their feathers gleaming with tiny droplets. The pathway along the river, lined with occasional wooden benches, felt more secluded than usual. The usual chatter of tourists had quieted, replaced by the soothing symphony of raindrops tapping against leaves and water. I pulled my coat tighter, savoring the solitude, the beauty of having this moment all to myself. I passed a small bridge, its stone surface slick with rain, and paused to watch the water flow beneath me. The mist rolling down from the mountain soft and the outlines of buildings in the distance, giving the scene a storybook quality. There was something profoundly peaceful about watching the world slow down in the rain. The town's unique ambience under misty clouds. Interlaken, already a place of wonder, took on a new identity under the rain. The usual vibrant energy of travelers, bustling through the streets, gave way to a more introspective calm. People strolled under umbrellas, their laughter softened by the downpour, while cozy cafés glowed invitingly behind fogged-up windows. The rain enhanced the town's charm rather than diminishing it. Wooden chalets with their flower-adorned balconies looked even more picturesque, the raindrops clinging to red geranium petals like tiny jewels. Horse-drawn carriages, their wheels splashing softly through puddles, carried warmly dressed passengers wrapped in blankets, their faces glowing with contentment. A nearby bakery exhaled the sweet scent of freshly baked pastries, luring a few wanderers inside. I followed suit, stepping into the warmth and ordering a steaming cup of Swiss hot chocolate. Through the window, I watched Interlaken blur and shimmer under the rain, the mountains standing tall behind the mist, as if guarding this little piece of paradise. This is just the beginning of the section. Let me know if you'd like me to continue expanding in this style. Exploring Unterseen, a hidden gem beside Interlaken. Few travelers realize that just across the river from Interlaken lies Unterseen, a quieter, more traditional Swiss town that often escapes the spotlight. With its historic charm, cobbled alleys, and half-timber-brick houses, Unterseen offers a glimpse into a slower, more intimate side of life in the Jungfrau region. On a rainy afternoon, the town takes on an even more enchanting quality. The rain dampens the wooden facades of centuries-old buildings, deepening their earthy tones. Church bells chime softly in the distance, their sound absorbed into the mist rolling down from the mountains. Unlike the bustling streets of Interlaken, Unterseen remains hushed, inviting wanderers to step off the beaten path. Rain-soaked cafes and quiet corners tucked into a corner near Stadthaussplatz, I found a cafe with an inviting glow spilling from its windows. The smell of strong espresso and buttered croissants pulled me inside, where the hum of quiet conversations blended with the soft patter of rain against the glass. I took a seat near the window, watching as pedestrians, wrapped in coats and scarves, walked briskly along the cobbled streets. The rain added a poetic quality to their movements, umbrellas tilted against the wind, boots splashing through puddles, laughter muffled by the misty air. Across the square, an old bookshop with a weathered wooden sign beckoned me. Inside, the scent of aged paper and ink mixed with the dampness clinging to my coat. The owner, a gray-haired gentleman with round spectacles, greeted me with a warm nod. Conversations with locals. Not many people take the time to visit Unterseen in the rain, he mused as I browsed the shelves, but I think it's the best time. The town slows down, and you can really see its soul. I nodded, running my fingers along the spines of Swiss folklore books. It feels more intimate, I agreed. He smiled knowingly. Exactly. People rush through places like Interlaken, but in the rain, they pause. They notice things. I left the shop with a pocket-sized collection of Swiss folktales, a souvenir not just of the place, but of the moment of a town that revealed itself only to those willing to linger. Lakes of Interlaken, Thun and Brienz, a rainy day journey through time and water. The lakes of Interlaken, Lake Thun and Lake Brienz, are the twin jewels of this alpine paradise. Their waters shifting between shades of deep sapphire and glacial turquoise depending on the light and season. But when rain falls gently upon them, they transform into something even more mesmerizing. Mist clings to their surfaces like a soft veil, obscuring the distant mountains and creating a world that feels like it belongs to another era and touch, serene and steeped in mystery. Boat rides through misty waters, boarded a historic paddle steamer at Interlaken West, my coat down from the drizzle. The boat, a relic of an earlier time, carried the echoes of past travelers, people who, like me, sought solace in the rhythm of the waves and the mist-shrouded landscapes. The rain blurred the edges of the mountains, softening their rugged outlines and making them look like watercolor brushstrokes against the gray sky. As the boat glided across Lake Thun, I stood at the railing, watching raindrops create ripples on the glassy surface. It was a quiet, meditative moment, no rush, no urgency, just the sound of water meeting water. Occasionally, a lone swan drifted past, undisturbed by the weather, a white silhouette against the lake's shifting hues. The steamer made its way toward Spies, a charming lakeside town with its fairy tale-like castle perched on a gentle hill. Through the rain-speckled window, I saw vineyards stretching toward the water, their vibrant green softened by the mist, the colors of the lakes in the rain. The beauty of these lakes lies in their ever-changing colors. On a clear summer day, Lake Brienz is a surreal shade of turquoise, so vivid that it seems almost unreal. But under the rain, the color deepens, taking on a mysterious, otherworldly tone. The water reflects the muted grays of the sky, occasionally interrupted by streaks of silver, where the light breaks through the clouds. As I crossed over to Lake Brienz, I noticed the dramatic contrast in its landscape. While Lake Thun is framed by rolling hills and medieval villages, Brienz is wilder, its steep cliffs plunging directly into the water. The rain intensified the lake's solitude, making it feel even more remote and untouched. I passed small boathouses along the shore, their wooden exteriors darkened by moisture. A fisherman in a simple rowboat drifted through the mist, his silhouette blending into the gray expanse. There was something poetic about the solitude of the scene, just a man, the water, and the gentle rhythm of the falling rain. Historic castles and lakeside villages. One of the most striking sights on Lake Thun is Oberhofen Castle, its pointed tower rising dramatically from the water's edge. The rain had left tiny droplets clinging to the castle's ancient stone walls, giving it an even more timeless appearance. I wandered through its gardens, where the scent of damp earth and blooming roses filled the air, mixing with the cool freshness of the lake breeze. Further along the shoreline, the medieval town of Thun awaited. The town's old wooden bridges, worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, glistened in the rain, their beams reflecting on the darkened river below. I stopped by a lakeside cafe, where the waiter smiled knowingly as he handed me a cup of steaming Swiss coffee, the perfect antidote to the crisp, damp air. On the eastern shore of Lake Brienz, I visited Eiseltwald, a tiny village straight out of a dream. Its wooden chalets, adorned with rain-kissed flowers, stood in quiet contrast to the dramatic cliffs behind them. I followed a narrow path to Seeberg Castle, a hidden gem that seemed to float on the lake's surface, half obscured by the mist. It was the kind of place where time slows down, where the rain feels like part of the story rather than an interruption. Jungfrau region, in the Drizzle, a journey through mist and mountains. The Jungfrau region is often described as the crown jewel of the Swiss Alps, a place where snow-capped peaks tower above emerald green valleys and waterfalls tumble down sheer cliffs. But in the rain, it takes on a different kind of beauty, one that is softer, moodier, and more enchanting. Mist curls around the mountains like an ancient spirit, waterfalls surge with renewed energy, and the villages of Lauterbrunnen, Mürren, and Wengen feel like cozy sanctuaries tucked away in the clouds. Train journey to Lauterbrunnen. A window into another world. The journey to Lauterbrunnen began at Interlaken, where I boarded the bright yellow train of the Berner Oberland Railway. The rhythmic hum of the train blended with the sound of rain drumming lightly against the windows. As we left Interlaken behind, the landscape shifted. Rolling meadows gave way to steep cliffs, and the river swelled with glacial water. The train wound its way upward, passing through tiny villages with wooden chalets whose rooftops gleam, wet under the misty sky. With every turn, the scenery became more dramatic. Towering rock faces loomed on either side of the valley, their surfaces slick with rain. The Lütschine River, swollen from the downpour, roared beside the tracks, its icy blue waters carving through the valley floor. Then, as we rounded a final bend, Lauterbrunnen appeared. Nestled in one of the most breathtaking valleys in the world, the town sat beneath cliffs that soared nearly 1,000 meters high. Waterfalls cascaded down their sheer faces, ribbons of white dissolving into mist before reaching the ground. Waterfalls and moody mountain scenery. The first thing I noticed when stepping off the train was the scent, the fresh, earthy aroma of rain-soaked grass, pine, and wildflowers. Lauterbrunnen, often called the Valley of 72 Waterfalls, was alive with the sound of rushing water. I walked toward Staubach Falls, one of the most famous waterfalls in Switzerland. The wine carried its mist into the air, blending with the rain so that the entire valley felt like it was floating in a dream. I tilted my head back, watching as the water tumbled from the cliffs, vanishing into the mist before it even reached the ground. Further along the valley, I followed a narrow trail leading to Trummelbach Falls, a series of powerful waterfalls hidden inside the mountains. The rain made the experience even more dramatic. The roar of the falls echoed through the rock tunnels, and the spray mixed with the rain, drenching everything in its path. Even the mountains seemed to come alive in the drizzle. Their rugged peaks, partially obscured by mist, felt more mystical, as if they belonged to a different world entirely. The Eiger, Menunch, and Jungfrau, the legendary trio of peaks, loomed in the distance, their snow-covered summits barely visible through the shifting clouds. When in under the Murren mist from Lauterbrunnen, I took the funicular up to Murren, a car-free village perched high above the valley. The rain had driven most tourists indoors, leaving the narrow streets almost empty. The wooden chalets, their balconies adorned with rain-kissed geraniums, stood in perfect contrast to the thick mist that swirled around them. I wandered through the village, the sound of my footsteps muffled by the damp ground. Occasionally, a local would pass by, nodding in quiet greeting, their faces partially hidden beneath umbrellas. A light wind stirred the mist. A woman with kind eyes brought me a cup of hot apple cider, its warmth seeping into my hands. "You picked a beautiful day
Swiss
to visit,"
chocolate and
she
warm
said.
cafés.
The scent of melted chocolate was the first thing that greeted me, so I stepped into Funky Chocolate Club, one of Interlaken's beloved chocolatiers. Inside, the rich aroma of cocoa filled the air, wrapping around me like a soft, velvety blanket. The shop was small but inviting, its wooden shelves lined with handcrafted Swiss chocolates, dark, milk, and white varieties infused with hazelnuts, caramel, and even a touch of Himalayan salt. I ordered a hot chocolate, and the barista prepared it the traditional way, slowly melting dark chocolate into steamed milk, stirring until it reached the perfect silky consistency. When I took my first sip, it was as if the entire rainy day had melted away. The drink was thick, rich, and slightly bittersweet, warming me from the inside out. Outside, rain drizzled steadily against the cobblestone streets, creating small glistening pools that reflected the soft glow of lanterns. I watched from the window as passers-by, wrapped in scarves and coats, hurried along under their umbrellas. There was something peaceful about being on the inside, watching the world go by while holding a cup of warmth in my hands. Boutique shops and local crafts. With no plans to rush, I wandered into Boutique Krossenbacher, a family-run shop that has been crafting traditional Swiss shoes for generations. The wooden interior smelled of leather and pine, and the shelves displayed everything from sturdy hiking boots to beautifully embroidered slippers. The owner, a friendly man with silver-rimmed glasses, explained how each pair was made by hand, using techniques passed down for over a century. Further down the street, I found Albert Schild Swiss Souvenirs, a shop specializing in hand-carved wooden figures. The craftsmanship was astonishing. Each piece was delicately shaped, from miniature chalets to figurines of Swiss farmers and St. Bernard dogs with tiny barrels around their necks. One shelf held intricate music boxes, their lids painted with images of the Swiss Alps. I turned the key of one decorated with a misty scene of Jungfrau Mountain, and a soft melody filled the room. The sound was light and nostalgic, blending perfectly with the rain outside. The shopkeeper, an elderly woman with a warm smile, noticed my fascination. "It's an old tradition," she said. "Many families pass these down for generations. Music, just like the mountains, stays with you." A slow afternoon with books and tea. By mid-afternoon, the rain had settled into a steady, soothing rhythm. It felt like the perfect time to get lost in a book, so I made my way to Buckhandel Krebser, Interlaken's charming independent bookstore. The moment I walked in, the scent of old paper and fresh ink surrounded me. The wooden shelves were stacked with everything from Swiss history books to classic literature, and a small reading corner with plush armchairs invited visitors to stay a while. I picked up a book on alpine myths and found a cozy seat near the window. Outside, the rain blurred the world, turning the landscape into a soft watercolor painting. Occasionally, the door would creak open, letting in a gust of cool, damp air as another traveler sought shelter among the books. After an hour of reading, I decided to warm up with a cup of tea at Café Hussy, a snug little spot with rustic wooden tables and the gentle hum of soft music playing in the background. I ordered a pot of Swiss herbal tea, infused with alpine herbs like chamomile, mint, and lemon balm. The first sip was refreshing, the warmth spreading through me like a gentle embrace. Time slowed down as I sat there, listening to the rain. turning the pages of my book, and watching as the mist curled lazily around the mountains. There was something profoundly peaceful about it, the kind of moment that doesn't demand excitement but simply invites you to be present. Sunsets after the rain. When the Alps glow in gold, rain in the Swiss Alps doesn't last forever. After hours of steady drizzle, when the clouds begin to break and the world emerges from its misty cocoon, something magical happens. The air, crisp and cool, carries the scent of fresh earth and pine. Droplets cling to leaves and rooftops, catching the light like tiny gems. And then, as the sun dips toward the horizon, the landscape is bathed in hues of gold, pink, and violet, a fleeting masterpiece that feels almost too perfect to be real. Golden reflections over the Alps. The first sign that the rain was ending came in the form of a soft glow on the horizon. The heavy, gray clouds that had blanketed the sky all day began to lift, revealing streaks of orange and peach peeking through. I hurried to the edge of Lake Brienz, where the still waters acted like a mirror, reflecting the changing sky. Golden light spilled across the lake's surface, illuminating the raindrops still floating in the air. To Brienz or Thun, its rugged silhouette softened by the lingering mist, stood like a silent guardian over the valley. The contrast was breathtaking, warm light against the cool blue remnants of the storm. Across the lake, tiny wooden boathouses nestled along the shore glow in the evening light. Their wet roofs shimmered, catching the last traces of the sun's warmth. It was as if the world had been rinsed clean by the rain, leaving only pure, untouched beauty behind. The breathtaking beauty of clearing skies. Eager to witness the full splendor of the post-rain sunset, I took the harder-come funicular up to one of Interlaken's best viewpoints. As we ascended, the mist curled around the trees, slowly dissipating to reveal snow-capped peaks in the distance. Why rain makes travel more meaningful. While sunshine is often associated with happiness and joy, rain evokes something deeper. It's quieter, more introspective, and its presence in a travel experience often signifies a deeper connection to the place. Rain strips away the distractions. Without the sunny crowds or perfect skies to photograph, there's more space for reflection. When the weather doesn't go as planned, there's no choice but to stay in the moment. This creates an opportunity to be more mindful of the sounds, the smells, and the colors around you. You notice the details, the way the rain dances on the surface of the lake, the way the mist curls around the trees, the silence that settles over a mountain village when the weather closes in. I also found that rain allows for a more intimate experience with a place. While tourists often crowd the iconic spots when the sun shines, rainy days leave these places quieter, offering solitude. In the absence of large crowds, the landscapes felt more personal, like a secret shared between me and the mountains. Finally, rain, by its very nature, brings contrast. The sun has its beauty, but so does the gloom, the fog, the sudden bursts of light that pierce the clouds. Traveling through rain has taught me to appreciate all weather conditions for what they are, not just for the moments when they align with my expectations. Rain teaches us to find beauty in the unexpected and to embrace the fleeting nature of moments. At the top, the view was otherworldly. The Aare, Misty, and Jungfrau stood in majestic silence, their icy peaks now bathed in the soft blush of twilight. Wisps of fog still clung to the valleys below, like a dream that hadn't fully lifted. The last rays of sunlight kissed the clouds, turning them into fiery streaks of red and gold. The rain had left everything sharper, clearer. The mountain ridges seemed to have been freshly carved, their details more pronounced against the glowing sky. The world wasn't just illuminated, it was alive. As I stood there, watching the light shift from amber to rose, I realized how rare and precious this moment was. Sunsets are always beautiful, but a sunset after the rain is something different, a promise or renewal, a quiet reminder that beauty often follows the storm. A photographer's paradise. For photographers, there's no better time to capture the Alps than just after the rain. The atmosphere, thick with moisture, scatters the light in ways that create a dreamlike quality. Colors become richer, the contrasts deeper, and the reflections more vivid. I set up my camera near a small clearing, where the lake, the mountains, and the sky all converged in perfect harmony. Each shot was a masterpiece of nature, the golden glow on the water, the soft mist wrapping around the peaks, the way the light touched the rooftops of Lauterbrunnen below. Even amateur photographers would find themselves awed by the sheer ease of capturing beauty here. Every angle, every frame told a different story. A lonely boathouse silhouetted against the fiery sky. A quiet street in Unterseen, where lanterns flickered against the wet cobblestones. a mountain ridge partially hidden by the lingering fog, making it look like a scene from an old Swiss painting. As the last light faded, I put my camera away and simply stood still, absorbing the moment. Not every sunset is meant to be captured, some are meant to be felt. A traveler's reflection, embracing the rainy adventure travel, for many, is often about chasing the sun. It's about exploring vibrant cities, basking in the warmth of exotic beaches, or hiking under clear skies. But my rainy days in Interlaken taught me something entirely different, that there is a unique magic in the moments when the weather doesn't cooperate, when the clouds gather, and the rain falls. Sometimes, the most profound lessons come not from the sunshine, but from the drizzle.